What's going on, guys? Apathettic here with all your tips, recommendations, and everything in between. And in today's Destiny 2 video, I'm going to help you master your Titan with tips and tricks that I have used to increase my KD on Titan, go flawless in trials, and hold my own against talented players in Destiny 2. There are a couple of topics that make the difference between average Titan players and great ones, and those topics include movement, barricade usage, CQC, stats, and exotic choice. Titan is one of the most powerful classes in Destiny 2 PvP, and that's because of the powerful abilities you can choose from. But it's these powerful abilities can make us forget the fundamentals and turn into a stereotypical brainless Titan. So if you find yourself struggling on Titan and you're looking to turn it around, then you won't want to miss this video. The last thing I'll add is I also stream on Twitch, so make sure you drop a follow using the link down below if you want to see more gameplay like this live. With that, let's get into it. As with all my 101 videos, we have to start with movement. Movement is the foundation of everything we do, not only on Titan, but any character, and not having a solid foundation means everything else we layer on top will struggle to reach its full potential. Titan movement a while ago used to be the fastest movement in the game, but with the nerfs to Titan skating and certain jumps, that's no longer the case. When choosing our jump for Titan, it's critical that we choose a jump that propels us straight forward as possible instead of straight up. What this allows us to do is keep our movement more horizontal and less vertical. That jump for Titan is strafe jump. Strafe jump will allow us to skate around the map at a relatively decent speed and keep us closer to the ground with its strong directional control. For those of you that may not be familiar, Titan skating is when you're sprinting, jump into the air, then double press your jump, which quickly activates and deactivates your jump to give you a nice boost forward. For this, I use my spacebar on PC, and I don't recommend setting a keybind for Titan skating because in my experience, it's not noticeably faster compared to normal skating, and you could use that keybind for some other ability. Titan skating using strafe jump allows you to get around the map as quickly as possible while putting ourselves in as little danger as possible since we are staying close to the ground. Another thing that makes strafe jump a great choice for our Titan is because of that directional control. It also provides good control when it comes to boosting yourself backwards to create some space between you and your enemy, and can allow you to back away from a fight while still facing towards your opponent fairly quickly. Similarly to Warlock strafe jump, it also gives us the ability to hover above a door to bait any unsuspecting enemies that may be pushing through and misreading their radar. One more thing to add when it comes to movement on Titan is sliding is going to be your best friend. And remember that you should be using strafe jump in tandem with sliding around the map to make sure you're optimizing your movement. Think of skating as good for covering long distances and sprinting as sliding for movement between cover and to close the gap on your enemy. By following that simple trick, it will dramatically improve your movement and ability to readily engage any enemy. The next topic for taking your Titan play to the next level is mastering the use of our Titan Barricade. This Titan ability has an insane amount of utility, and one of the best things about it is how it can be used not just defensively, but offensively as well. And to get the most out of this ability, it's important to get a good grasp of the timing for activating it. It's a common mistake to see Titans die mid-animation because they activate their barricade mid-fight or too late in a fight as a last-ditch effort to stay alive. With this in mind, it's important that we are popping our barricade proactively, and one of my favorite ways to use the Titan barricade is to gain more information. This can be done in two ways. The first is when you pop the barricade and brings you briefly into a third-party view, which can be used to peek around walls or other forms of cover to see how enemies may be pushing us. This information allows us to better prepare for how we want to engage our enemy and be prepared for a potential push. The second way is using the fact that the barricade is transparent to our advantage. What I mean by this is popping the barricade over a lane where you know an enemy will be appearing before we even engage them. What this allows us to do is clearly see how many enemies there are, how they are positioning themselves, and what weapons like snipers are they using. This gives us a ton of information that reading our radar simply doesn't give. This one change to how you use your barricade can make a huge difference in our ability to impact a game. To look at your barricade as more than just a shield to protect, but more as a way to gain more insight on enemy movement and positioning really takes this ability to another level. Now, this is only the tip of the iceberg when it comes to how our barricade can be used. It can also be used to close lanes, allowing us the freedom to focus on the lane in front of us without being shot. It can also be used to bait in enemies when we are weak by sliding in and out of the shield and forcing our enemy to move around it, and the list goes on. If you want to deep dive into some of these tactics, I highly recommend my friend Castle is Live, who has a video on mastering Titan, and he does a great job breaking down these more nuanced moves. So after you finish this video and you get an idea of these topics, use the link in the description to check out Castle's video to further build your skill on Titan. Getting into our next topic, and this involves CQC or close quarters combat. The reason we are discussing CQC on Titan is that was where Titan thrives. Whether it's bottom tree striker, one of the void subclasses, or bottom tree solar, so many of these classes' abilities and exotics revolve around close quarters combat. Now, that's not to say that you can't snipe on Titan, because you can, but you need to be looking to play a much more aggressive playstyle, because if you're sitting back and waiting for the enemy to come to you, then you aren't going to be tapping into abilities like knockout that cause your melee to do 150 damage. That's why when running Titan, I highly encourage running a shotgun and getting up close in person so you can proc some of these very powerful abilities that allow you to string kills together. Also, when you factor in the barricade that we just spent some time talking about, you aren't going to be popping your barricade and staring your enemy across the map, which means even the barricade plays better in these CQC scenarios. If you're playing Titan at a distance, you can be effective, but you aren't going to even touch the potential of this class by playing that way. By putting some of the practices we talked about with movement and the barricade into play, you can quickly become very lethal in these close quarter scenarios, and when running a subclass like Bottom Tree Striker, it can be very hard for any class to compete in these scenarios. Overall, Titans can play well outside of CQC, but if you're looking to maximize your efficiency on this class, then playing close to your enemies, utilizing your barricade, and taking advantage of the Titan's best abilities will yield the best results, and you'll only see your KD increase. In order to get the best results in Titan, it's important to make sure we are investing in the right stats to set us up for success. Investing in the right stats can make a huge difference in how effective we can be in the Crucible, and personally, it was a huge part of what helped me up my game when Trials initially launched. For the number one stat you want to invest in, and this will be true for any class, and that's going to be recovery. If I could pinpoint one single change in my game in the last year that made a significant difference, it's this right here. Some of the benefits of higher recovery are of course quicker recovery time, meaning we can get our health back quicker when an enemy is chasing, giving us a better chance to survive that engagement. Another benefit is it allows us to re-engage quicker, which can translate into being a better teammate since I'm able to team shot with my team more often since I'm spending less time hiding and getting my health back. The next stat that needs to be covered is resilience, which ties directly into how quickly we get our barricade. Now, a lot of Titans invest a lot in resilience or tend to wear armor that has higher resilience because they are trying to get that barricade back as quickly as possible. But what some people don't realize is that even at tier 3 resilience, you are getting your barricade back in 37 seconds, which is why for resilience on Titan, I run tier 2, but wouldn't intentionally invest any more than tier 3 resilience into your Titan, since at that point we are probably sacrificing some more impactful stats. As far as other stats to focus on, intellect is a great choice as always, since that allows us to get our super back as quickly as possible. For intellect, I try to fall in the 5 to 7 range, since after that you start seeing some diminishing returns. Outside of that, I tend to focus more on discipline for some grenade energy, and I found 5 to be a good level since that reduces our grenade cooldown to 1 minute. Also keep in mind that whatever subclass you decide to run may impact how you choose to invest in your stats. For example, if you're a Bottom Tree Striker, that gives a lot of freedom when it comes to stats, since you can easily proc knockout over and over without putting anything into your strength. Overall, I recommend focusing on recovery first, then either intellect or discipline to round out whatever subclass you're playing, all while keeping your investment in our resilience to a minimum. To round out Titan perfectly, it's important to top things off with the bright exotic choice. Luckily on Titan, you have some great options when it comes to PvP with options like One-Eyed Mask, Dune Marchers, Syntheseps, and depending on your playstyle, a couple others. Let's address the obvious number one choice here, and that's Dune Marchers. After receiving the range buff to make the range of the exotic a whopping 20 meters, it's no wonder it's become so popular. Then you sprinkle on that this exotic also improves your movement speed and it makes it an easy favorite. The great thing about Dune Marchers is it can be used effectively with any subclass, but if you're truly looking to become a CQC nightmare, pairing this exotic with Bottom Tree Striker is the way to go. Another great exotic for Titan that also works well with any subclass is One-Eyed Mask. Now OEM is not nearly as broken as it once was, but does still create potential for some great 1v3 scenarios with that overshield. Now it doesn't bring quite the lethality that Dune Marchers does, but it's still potent nonetheless. Personally, I would recommend Dune Marchers for Titans looking to play more up close and personal, and OEM for Titans that may enjoy sniping more since it can get you an easy overshield if you headshot someone who has already done some damage to you. Overall, Titan possesses some lethal exotics that can be used with any subclass and still help you slay out. And if you're looking to further set up your Titan for success with perfect stats and armor builds, then make sure you check out the video on the screen so you can get the full loadout breakdown for your Titan. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure you like, share, and subscribe as it's a free way to support me, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.